to, I don't know how they actually do that. I think it's just a mixture of how they're going to do it. But there's going to be a lot of people that get pushed, behind that would have been up for a Hall of Fame induction, So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be something that we can talk about where we probably would have had 4 or 5 guys being eligible. And then now it may be 10 guys and ladies and coaches, available. And it's only a few spots available. So I don't know. I do like it because but I guess at some point you would have had to go through this anyway, so it's not really that big of a deal, But it's going to be very interesting to make these arguments of who should get in, who shouldn't, why they should wait or anything like that. Shouts out to my man Mac Farrell. He's in the building as well. He said Marcus Camby's 5 o'clock shadow gets into the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, he did have one of the, standout, beards or low cut beards, in the world, basically. But the Hall of Fame, I like it. I think they should increase the amount of people that can get in. Again, the stats don't change anything, the stats don't change. They're going to be what they are. They're not going to go up. They're not going to go down. They're not going to get old or anything like that because you're still going to grade them in the era that they played. Maybe I'm hoping football can take a little bit of this. Maybe instead of 5 years, maybe 4 years. And then we wouldn't have, all these arguments because you got 53 guys on a team. You got 11 positions. And then that's not even including special teams on and defense, because a lot of offensive guys get in, not as many defensive guys get in. So I'm just hoping maybe they'll take some notes on this and maybe help us out a little bit and get T.O. in just a little bit earlier than normal, But we're going to stay in basketball. And I just saw this come across today. And every time I try and move away from Lavar Ball, he does something or something happens for me to end up talking about him again. And again, I'm going to talk about him. So if you have not heard, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm here. I'm going to update you and you listen to the Wait a Minute Show with your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie. LeVar Ball is trying to start up his own basketball league. And this is a junior basketball association is what he's calling it. He already got a logo. He got Lonzo as the logo. So, but the JBA, the Junior Basketball Association, basically what this is going to be for kids that, who don't want to go to college, but are trying to get paid. And what they're talking about is that you come to that association, that league, and kid can make anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 per month to play. And then whatever, I guess after 1 year, they can go to the NBA, at that point. But LeVar Ball is trying to provide an alternative, for these kids. And this is for the top high school prospects, again, like I said, that don't, want to go to school. I can say I don't oppose it. I think I actually like it. Maybe. Because if it's done right, maybe. Now, you can argue both sides of this, or you can, weigh both sides of this, I should say. But Mark Emmert, president at the NCAA, he was in the news earlier talking about, basically saying kids shouldn't be, coming to college with the plan of only being there for 1 year. But if you got an opportunity to make millions or make $100,000s of dollars, or just to live out your dream, and you can do that in a year, I don't understand, Mr. Emmer. Like, I don't get it. Like, you should be able to do that. And I've said this already. If it's a problem, stop giving these kids scholarships. Oh, but wait. There's a reason you're giving them scholarships. Because you got a business to run. You got this thing called March Madness that you want to run. You got this thing called jersey sales that you want to do. So you got a business. This NCAA has a business. Now, Mac Farrell just put in the chat. He said that someone mentioned on Doug, and that's Doug Stewart, shouts out to Doug, that high school prospects can go to the G League. I did hear that, as well. But here's the difference, Mac Farrell, with the G League versus what Lavar is saying. Lavar is saying basically you can go to this league and you're going to get paid more money. Because if I remember correctly, in the G League, ain't nobody making money like that. You making, hundreds of dollars, in the G League. You got a kid that's going to come out and off the rip maybe make 8,000, 9,000, and they already know they're going to go to the NBA. That's going to look very enticing, for them. There you got a kid who like, well, I don't have to take any money under the table, That's going to look very enticing, for them. Maybe they can get, some type of endorsement deal. That's going to look a little enticing, where kids that go to college, they can't do any of that stuff. So all I'm saying is that he's offering an alternative. Let's just be honest. I'm going to be honest on this. There are kids, they're like, yo, bump going to college. I can go to college later if it don't work out. Or they may just say, man, I ain't built, college ain't for me. Or they may say, you know what, man, I'm finna get this money. So I'm just saying, I like the idea. It's gonna ruffle a few feathers. If it catch on and the NCAA start losing some of these recruits that they're getting, then it's going to change the game. And I think, who just said it in the chat room? Mac Farrell, he was talking with Kyron. He said if Lavar was low key, he would be considered a genius. Yeah, Lavar mouth is basically, what turns people off to him. It's the way he say it. It's not what it is. It's just the way he say it. And people want him to be a certain way, and he's not going to be that. He's going to be him, as he say. He's going to, big baller brain. So I look at this not exactly the same way, but kind of similar maybe. Remember like how taxis, out there and transportation, and then Uber and Lyft, came out and it changed the game. Now people are, there's still people buying cars. There's still people still taking the bus or, and all this stuff. But I think the cab companies probably more than anything didn't like this because it's just like you got someone who you link up with, you're using the app, you know where they're at, you don't have to call and wait for someone to show up or say, hey, someone to, be there in like 40 minutes or something like that. You're in the area, someone comes and gets you. And then also, from my understanding, and I haven't taken too many cabs, but the cabs I have taken, it is cheaper taking Uber or Lyft, versus taking a cab. So that offered an alternative. There are still people that take cabs, and all that stuff, but it offered an alternative. So this is what I think Lavar is doing. He's offering an alternative that's not available at this point. There's only, before they made this rule, after they made this rule, there was only one alternative, and that was to go overseas. And now you got the G League, but Kids didn't want to do that. Teams didn't want to do that overseas too, because maybe they just like, nah, we want you more than 1 year. So with this, I don't see anything wrong with it if it's done right. But people have a problem, like they just said, because it's Lavar, and he's very boisterous and he's very forthcoming with his opinions about everything. Maybe this will push the NCAA. I just thought about this. Maybe this will push them to pay the students. Maybe. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna give some kid $3,000 to $10,000. Now, that's what Lavar is saying, because he's talking about having about, I think he said 8 teams, and they're spread out over like Atlanta, LA, I think Brooklyn, and some other cities. And he wanted to try and use NBA venues, which I don't think you really need NBA venues, for this. You could use other venues, but now on the flip side, here's the flip side that I have a question about. If you're making $10,000, do you have an agent who's negotiating this? Who, is that agent getting, a portion of this? How's the living arrangements? Are you being provided a place to stay, or do you have to find your own place? Transportation, clothing. They're saying they'll have all big baller brand, clothing and everything. But I mean, is there anything else? Is there maybe an allotment of meals or something? I mean, I'm just throwing out all this stuff. Like, as far as like, if you're making $10,000, how much of that $10,000 are you going to actually be able to put into your pocket versus put towards something? How is it, maybe for insurance purposes or anything like that, if that person gets injured? How is the rehab going to work out if a kid get injured? So there's other things, to consider and worry about with this, but it's an alternative. It's just something that you got more than one option, on this. Mac Farrell is in the chat room saying, he's talking with Kyron again. He said, you also got to factor in the NBA and NCAA crushing this league, especially the NBA expand the G League and give every team a G League affiliate team, So that could, if I'm reading this right, that could be right. They may, form to be like, yo, we can't let Lavar come in here and step on what we doing because, hey, we send them to y'all for a year. Y'all get y'all money. Y'all do all this stuff. And then y'all send them to us and, we get our money, whatever, So it could be, Could be. But Lavar, once again, got people talking, and he is definitely in the mix, on this. This may be all talk, from him, and it may not ever happen, because you got to have the brand is supposed to be funding this, but that's a lot of money, to be funding, at this point. But we shall see. And what we'll see coming forward is a brother who came back to the league after spending some time. Who that is, we'll talk about that in just a moment. We'll be back in just a moment. We're just going to take a commercial break.
All music artists, lend me your ear. Looking for that hot beat to make your next hit? Go to farrelljaromusic.com. Tired of paying for overpriced studio time for mediocre beats? Go to farrelljaromusic.com. farrelljaromusic.com offers industry quality hip-hop, trap, R&B, and pop beats that will take your creativity to the next level. We know it's hard to find dope beats out there, so don't waste any more time searching YouTube or whack beat selling websites. Go to farrelljaromusic.com today to cop the beat for your next hit. Mixing and mastering services available too. Once again, go to farrelljaromusic.com. That's FARROJARRO music.com for the hottest beats in the game.
This is #1 Chief Rocker Jersey Vern on a Recap Monday doing his recap show. We're going to talk about sports.